Welcome to another edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline at Sips Sports Bar, 3024 West Liberty Avenue, 15216. We've got another great day in sports, great guests, and a lot of people here ready to hear sports on St. Patrick's Day. Thanks for coming out. We appreciate all the green. Even Devin's all dressed up in green, and John the Tiger Kiger got green. Brandy, you going to bring us drinks here? Go ahead. This is Brandy the waitress, bartender.
Extraordinaire.
Smoking Jim's not here to promote her.
An all-around good egg.
Smoking Jim right now is not with us. No, he's not running late. No, he's not in an accident. And no, he's not in the hospital. He's actually announcing the USA boxers from Pittsburgh are fighting the Irish team at the Priory for the Donnybrook in Pittsburgh. You can catch that on PCNC. And they're broadcasting from 7 o'clock till 10. By the time you get this, you've already seen our show, so we appreciate you watching on Verizon 32. Everywhere in Pittsburgh, Comcast 7 only in Bethel Park. And we're up to 2,650 likes on Pittsburgh Sportsline at Facebook. Thank you. We appreciate all the likes. Now, we usually start with what's on our mind, and we're going to do that. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. Chip the Prophet Hayner. Zach Brenner. Hey, Zach Brenner, what's on your mind?
Well, Al Levine, the talking machine, I was waiting for you to set me up. I want to thank all the folks here that for your patience while I was making my way from the job. I like to work long hours because, I like money. So if you want money, you got to work hard. So if you ever
Where's the green? Here, take that pen, buddy.
You got to see Levine.
Well, you got to see Levine, but you can see me too because Levine's a part of my team. So either way, you can't go wrong. But
hold it, flag on the play. What's that?
I wasn't gonna do it.
I'm doing it for you. Shameless promotions, folks. You like us, we like you, and give little Z a call.
What's on my mind, Al Levine? March Madness, the NCAA tournament. That's what's on my mind. Pitt's got a game coming up here against Colorado. It's going to be an interesting matchup. I like the Panthers to advance to play Florida, and I like how a lot of people are saying if Pitt gets past Colorado, they don't stand a chance against Florida. Well, Pitt can stand a chance against anybody if they come to play right, and if Talib Zana continues to play and rebound like a magnet like he's been doing, I like the Panthers to give Florida their best run for their money. But like I always tell Al and the gang, I look at it one game at a time, and I look for Pitt to advance and beat Colorado. And that's what's on my mind, folks.
Thanks, Zach. Appreciate that. Chip Hayner, what's on your mind?
Well, thank you, Alan, and it's great to have Zach sitting to my left here today. I'm filling a pretty big seat here with Smoking Jim Frazier.
Hold it, what size t-shirt do you wear?
Not a quad X.
Okay.
But, I want to wish everybody a happy St. Patrick's Day, and there's quite a number of things on my mind today.
Try to pick two.
And try to pick, I'll be short on it. I won't elaborate very deeply on any of them. But yes, the March Madness, one of my favorite times of the year, starts. Actually, it starts tomorrow night with 2 of the 4 play-in games. And it'll be interesting to see how the tournament goes. It's pretty much a wide open field this year, so watch the fireworks this weekend. We'll see where that ends up. Last week I was talking a little bit about the Pittsburgh Penguins, and I was really kind of hoping that the 4-game stretch that they played last week would really kind of cement them as the odds-on favorite in the Eastern Division to advance in the Stanley Cup Finals. And they looked pretty unbeatable last Monday and Tuesday night, and they forgot to show up Saturday and Sunday. So there's still a lot of work that needs to be done there. Penguins got to get some of these high-priced athletes playing hockey again instead of sitting in the trainer's room. But the thing that's most on my mind, and I have over the years taken Roger Goodell to task more than once, and Alan can verify that with me. And I just heard one of the most ridiculous comments out of his mouth this morning, because the owner of the Indianapolis Colts got arrested, charged with 4 felonies, driving under the influence and possession of a controlled substance. So then the word comes out of Goodell's office that they said disciplinary actions will follow. Now this is a good one. How do you discipline an owner? What, is he not allowed to own the team for 4 games? I mean,
They fine them.
I just think
Chip, they fine them. That's all. It's like a tax.
why they do anything. But I just think it's kind of comical that the commissioner's office is going to either try to take to task somebody that's paying him. So that's what's on my mind.
Thanks, Chip. Appreciate that.
Live crowd tonight. Live, real live.
They're eating. They got steak there. Look at them. Hey, what's on my mind is, first of all, thanks for these great SIP shirts that we have.
Yeah, nice shirt.
I appreciate it. I'm not sure who the printer was on that. I think I don't know if you can get a close-up here. Can you get a close-up of that company here? That's you, Chuck.
Oh, thank you.
Kamikaze Kid.
Rob, you got another shirt for me.
Thanks, buddy. I was looking for a logo, that Pittsburgh Sportsline logo, you know what something like that. Anyhow, what's really on my mind after that is something with sports. We saw an MMA bouts event that was just unbelievable. I don't know if you can get a close-up of that, John. Can you pull in on that? Gladiators of the Cage put the Rise to Power 4 at Stage AE. It was just awesome. Bill Boyce was there, Smoking Jim was there, Zach Brenner was there, I was there. So many of our friends and fighters that we've had were out there. Some of them won. Matter of fact, Jamie Chesney, Little Z goes, "Hey Al, I think our show brought her some good karma." She won.
Yes, she did.
And then she fought a new friend of mine, friend of Zach Brenner, Christy Moore. That's one of the bravest people that I ever saw. Jamie had one of the most determined looks that I've seen come out, men or women, in boxing, MMA, or whatever. It was just a killer stare, and she went right into it. I'm not going to go through all the bouts, but you can see on Pittsburgh Sportsline on Facebook, I posted the whole night of fights. It's up there. You got to check it out. They're all through the night, all our friends. Chris Dempsey, he's the new beast of the East, I call him. His bout was just unbelievable. When you see a guy with his ground game and punches, I mean, I'm learning MMA. Speaking of that, I get to give a special shout out to Robert Joseph, who owns Gladiators of the Cage. I got to tour wherever I went. Zach Brenner was almost in the cage because he was almost everywhere there. He was close. Then he had to sit down next to Bill Boyce. Thanks, Brandy. This is live TV. Appreciate it.
Non-alcoholic.
Then one of his second in command or part of his team, Ray Reamer, showed me the mission control room with all the cameras. They let me hang around there for a couple fights. They run an operation that's unreal. They got the trucks outside their control room. Very professional, first class. Over 1,600 people there. Another shout out to John Wagner, Steel Nation Magazine. Got another t-shirt there, thanks to Robert Joseph on air. One of the best Gladiators of the Cage shirts in green. He said that's for Levine, so I understood that. Smoking Jim somehow left the building early, missed the two main bouts.
Yes, he did.
He was gone. Batman left the building. That's how he rolls. Oh, he's gone tonight too, but for a reason. He's working on his ESPN career like Ryan Clark, so that might be it for Smoking Jim Frazier. Once they see him internationally, look out. That's what's on my mind, folks. We're going to start with our guest right about now. Our first guest of the night is going to be Mr. Mona V, Mario Tempest. Hey, nice Sips shirt.
Nice shirt.
Hey,
Whoa.
Mario, great to see you again.
What's up, buddy? How's
Hey.
everybody tonight?
We're doing great. I wanted you up here for a couple reasons. The first one is you're going to have to introduce your mother before you go.
will
Because
do
she
that.
come back. I'll tell you what, she's just awesome. She remembered that I said you got to come back on your next birthday, and I forget how old she is. So I'm getting too old, but we'll bring her up in a minute or two. I got a couple questions for you. First, I heard some inside info on Mona V. I saw something on Facebook, not that I'm a stalker, but if you like Pittsburgh Sportsline on Facebook, I like everything else. And I saw this thing, MYNT, that's involved with you. So I don't know what it even is. Can you tell the folks what's happening?
Yes, I will. Before I start, though, I'd like to thank the Pittsburgh Power. Went to the opener on Saturday night, and Chip and his lovely wife was there as well. We were quite entertained. They got a great product there. If you didn't go or you never watched the games, I turned my mother on to it Saturday night. She watched the game. They were winning the whole game. They lost at the end, but quite impressive. And it's a good time, and it's a good buy for the dollar, no doubt about it.
Good. I'm glad to hear that, because I've been to a couple games in the past couple years, and I won't say I was disappointed, but it was worse than that.
I understand.
How did that quarterback look that was a guest on our show?
He did okay, but I think he needs an offensive line like most quarterbacks do. I think that was the problem.
He's not as good as Ben Roethlisberger is with his line.
No, I don't think so. That's okay.
Well, this is arena football.
Right.
No, he did a nice job. The Pittsburgh offense looked pretty good. Could have been better. Cleveland came and played defense in the fourth quarter when it mattered.
They sure did.
They sure did.
And the toughest thing to take is Cleveland beat Pittsburgh.
That was tough.
I mean, out of all this,
You took the words right out of my mouth.
There were actually
Sorry.
some Cleveland Brown fans in the audience.
No.
Yeah. We took care of them afterwards, though. But anyhow,
Okay, well, you're from New Kent, so I understand. There was a whole bus like in the river. I didn't understand what was going on.
no comment.
Okay. What else do you want to talk about?
Anyhow,
Thanks for the power report.
Anyhow, like Alan was talking about, Mona V is a multi-billion-dollar company of nutritional, all-natural products now in 40 countries. Most recently, meal replacement for all the athletes in the Winter Olympics. But what they did, they decided to have like a subsidiary company and go towards the Y generation, which is 18 to 34-year-olds. And starting tomorrow on our webinar, they've just been teasing us, but Mint is going to be the name of the company.
Right.
And anybody getting involved now will actually be one of the first 1,000 people involved. There's less than 1,000 people in it right now.
Should they call you? How do they get a hold of you, Mr. Mona V?
412-417-7301. I'll get you in on the ground of a company being backed by a multi-million-dollar nutritional company. Multi-billion.
You're getting like Dr.
Evil.
That's how much the Colts
Multi-million
owner.
dollars.
The Colts owner is worth $1.6 billion, and he can't get a ride or find somebody to drive him around.
I understand. He deserves what he gets. Anyhow, it's going to be the...
You're on a roll. Keep going.
The energy,
you want to take a picture? Smile.
The energy drink line and our meal replacement. There's going to be the meal replacement shake, and you'll be able to put 4 different things in it. A cleansing, protein. This is still new for me. I'm going to forget the other 2 now, but there's 4 different things you can put in the same shake. So you got 4 different products. Plus, we got 3 new flavors of energy drink, and they're still all natural and still all based with the acai berry.
Nice.
I'm very, very excited. I told Alan before the show, I learned this on Thursday in Columbus, Ohio, and I don't know how I slept between Thursday and today.
Well, you had that Mona V sleep drink.
That's right, the rest.
I
comes in a
understand.
can.
He had it here and it didn't work on me. I got too much green tea
Nothing
in
works
me.
on you.
No, I got 12 cups
You
of
don't
green
sleep.
tea.
You don't sleep.
Not at all.
But thank you for mentioning
that sounds great.
Yeah,
I'm glad.
I'm very excited.
Anything we can help with our advertisers and sponsors like you, buddy, we plan on doing that in the future too.
I appreciate it very much.
Good luck to
Look
you.
forward to it.
Now we've been waiting in suspense for the lady of the hour here.
Yeah, I'd like to introduce the young lady, my mother. She turned 91 on Wednesday. She doesn't look a day over, I'd say 75 or 80, to be honest with you. Ann Tempest is here.
All right. Thanks, Maria. You want to escort her up here? And have a seat.
Welcome back to our show.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
God bless.
Look at the camera so he can get a nice picture of the birthday girl. And you know what? Those cookies were delicious. My son and I, it took us at least a couple weeks to finish them. Would you like a sweet potato fry?
No, thank you. I have
You sure? Okay. Well, why don't you tell your fans who you are?
My name is Ann Tempest, and I'm happy to be here with you tonight. And I love to tell you that I love the sports, and I I wished everybody liked them like I do.
Well, how about this new team you're watching there, the Pittsburgh Power? What do you think about them?
Oh, they're great. I just loved it. Like the other night, I watched it on TV.
Did you watch the whole game?
I watched the whole game, and I thought that was very nice. And I was very happy about it.
Good. Well, I know your other favorite team's the Steelers, but that's going to be a while till you can watch them.
Well, I'll watch the Pirates play, and I'll watch maybe hockey once in a while.
I heard that hockey's a little hard to follow there.
Yeah, a little
you know
bit.
what? Tell Mario to get rid of that 12-inch black and white TV that he makes you watch hockey on. You didn't tell me that, but I know how he is. She got a 12-inch black and white. She was trying to be nice to her son there.
Plasma.
She said he was a little bit of a comedian when he was a young man, so I know he has you locked in that room with that 12-inch TV. So get her the 46 big, LED screen, please. She'll be able to see the puck.
And I wanted you to know that I love sports very much.
Do you? How long have you been a sports fan in Pittsburgh?
A long time.
Couple years.
More than that.
Okay.
I'm tired watching movies, so I watch sports now.
Do you?
Yes, all the time.
Did you watch the Olympics at all?
Some of it.
Yeah. Well, that was on at so many different odd hours.
Yeah.
It's a little hard to follow.
No, not really, because I stay up till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
You know what, Mario? Don't you have that sleep drink for Mom? I know you got her joints all fixed up. She jogged up here. You're doing pretty good. I remember when you had arthritis. Now you don't.
Oh, no, not no more.
No, she got to be the advertisement for Mint. Forget those 18 to 34-year-olds, right? Get her that drink.
Oh, I already take it.
Do you?
I wouldn't do without it.
Wow. Well, there's your best endorsement
A lot of things
there.
happened to me. I had operations on the knee and hips, and I walked with a cane for 14 years, and I had to throw it away because I took that Monavi,
Wow.
and I'm still taking it.
What do you drink, a glass a day?
I drink 3 ounces in the morning, 3 ounces at night, and try to go to bed, but I love my TV.
Good for you.
There you go. Well, I'm glad you could make it. The cookies were great, and I heard next time you come on, you may bring eggplant.
That's right. That's right.
How about that?
That's right.
We're going to have you on in the summer for a little eggplant extravaganza.
Okay.
I can't wait for that.
And it's a pleasure.
Thank you.
You take care. Stay healthy.
I'm very glad that you asked me back again.
Well, sure.
Welcome back
Anytime.
anytime. You're welcome back
Definitely.
My name is Diane Hughley. I'm from New Kensington, Pennsylvania, and I'm a freelance writer focusing on sports. I got my master's degree from Duquesne University, and what I'm trying to do is go into the junior and high schools and teach student athletes leadership skills.
And you know how I always talk about 2 degrees of separation. Now you know that in Pittsburgh, the reason she's here is friends of mine that were on our show. Martin Thomas, the troubadour from New Ken, was here, and his girlfriend Helene worked with Diane. So that's how she's here, but it gets even better. Mario Tempest is a neighbor of her and her brothers who were great athletes, and we're at
Valley High School.
there you go. You want to
Small
mention
world.
their names?
My brother's name is Jim Hughley. They call him Ed. And my older brother was Coleman, who played for Ken High back in the day.
Okay.
So it was that Ken High Harbrack rivalry, and then it was the Valley Highlands rivalry.
And that's why we miss Smoking Jim here, because he would tell us about who played where, when, and how they did.
What?
And that nobody would be as good as Gateway, but we're not going to talk about that.
That's all right. But if you can remember back in the day, Valley won the state championship.
I remember. Is that in the 70s?
That was in about, I think it was 76 or 77.
I remember that.
Because my neighbor, Billy Varner, was on that team.
Yes,
So
that name is very familiar.
I'm not an athlete, but I just love sports, and that's why I write sports.
And you should see her blogs. Tell them about how to get a hold of your blogs.
My blog-
'Cause she's just great.
My blog is called Diane Sports Talk, and I just talk sports. Whatever I feel like talking about. I could talk about what's going on in a lot of the high school athletic programs, pay for play fees, things of that nature. I interviewed Andrew McCutcheon a couple years ago, and he is a wonderful guy.
That's what we've heard.
That way, he comes across that way.
He is a wonderful guy. What I'm doing now is compiling a lot of my sports articles. And what I'm going to do is just send them to every sports organization.
Well, when's your book going to come out? That's what I want to know, because you should have a book.
I do have a book, but I'm not going to tell you what it's about.
Okay.
But it's going to be the tale of two somebodies.
Oh, really?
That's all I'm going to say about it. So I've been doing research about just things that are going on in the schools. We have a problem with role models. I know a lot of athletes don't want to be called role models, but I'm sorry, everybody wants to be like Mike.
Right.
But what happens when you get to that top level? You forget about a lot of things.
How about Charles Barkley and his philosophy?
Well, Charles also always said he wasn't a role model.
Right.
That's fine, but he is. He is. He doesn't have to admit it, but people are looking at Charles Barkley for guidance, for different things like that. I mean, look at Michael Jordan, look at Michael Vick. Which way do you want to go? Now,
it depends on what time with Michael Jordan.
That's right, because Michael was involved with a lot of gambling.
Yes, and some other things.
And some other things.
Now, to speak to the athletes and the role models things, do you think that as they become more successful and they become the subject of conversation, that they feel more of a sense of entitlement instead of taking the responsibility for assuming the role that goes with the position that they're in?
That's right, and a lot of it has to do with what is instilled in you, how you were brought up, what you have learned. Did you have anybody else who would help you, along your way? A lot of them think that they are entitled, that they are invincible.
That's why I was bringing it up, sure.
And it's not that, but what can you say?
Well, I've been around sports my whole life, and I always talk about not all the people in sports should be role models. Like you're saying, it's almost by default, and you're right, except for one thing. There's people like yourself, other people that are family people that help others out. I would rather see them as the role model and use sports as a way to guide children and young people to do the right thing and learn how to be with other people.
Because sports, if you know, is one of the best platforms for teamwork and for leadership.
Exactly.
You can learn, and that's where my focus is. Just trying to teach a lot of kids that in order for you to succeed professionally and personally, you need some type of leadership skills.
And look at all of us. You say, did you play sports?
No,
not at all.
I'm a non-athlete.
Completely. Well, we've all played sports, and even if we didn't play it well, I think it helped all of us for what we've become.
And it really did, because my father forced my sisters and I to follow my brothers.
You had a watch. Like my three sisters did.
But I loved it. But I learned there was a connection playing a team in the team environment. You had communications, you had collaboration. There was that competitive thing, so I just learned that. And that's what I'm trying to do now with a lot of the athletic departments. I was even mentoring Valley High School's girls basketball team.
Great.
For a couple of years. But I stopped doing it, but now I'm into my own thing where I'm trying to get this book together. I'm trying to get my articles together. So we'll see.
Well, I wish you luck. How do we get a hold of you? How could anybody help you? And look at the camera. Bill Boyce is going to take a picture again. Yeah, because the first one was taboo.
Well, my phone number is 412-609-9933. And my email is Diane, D-I-A-N-E, .Hughley, H-U-G-H-L-E-Y, @yahoo.com.
And where's your blog site at? Mention that so they can find that too.
It's Diane'sSportsTalk.com.
Okay. I think we covered it all.
Is she on Facebook? Is she like Pittsburgh Sportsline on Facebook?
I already liked it.
I didn't go there because she knows about Pittsburgh Sportsline on Facebook. And you got to like Brenner Contracting because they're our partner here too.
Okay.
Diane, it was a pleasure.
I appreciate it.
Hope to see you again and hear more good news in the future.
Thank you.
I'm Sean Mooney. I run Pittsburgh Sports Fanatics on Facebook. and we're going to talk about Power football. The Power opened up their season against Cleveland. Everybody was expecting a win, but I told everybody, the team looked like a championship team on paper, but you got to showcase it on the field. And unfortunately, they fell apart in the second half. We did have a 17-point lead, and then it just all fell apart. But I will mention this. The offensive line was not doing a good job. They did give up 2 sacks, but Grady was under immense pressure all game. He was injured on the very first play. He sat out 1 play. Came right back in.
What kind of injury?
His hand.
Is it a traditional offensive line setup? 5 across?
No.
Could you set that up for the folks that may never seen arena football?
I believe it's like 4 linemen.
And who's that guy running on the outside right down the field?
That's the receiver.
Okay, just kidding, because if they see that.
You can have a receiver in motion in arena football.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
He just can't leave the line of scrimmage
Before the ball snapped, right.
But he is running towards that line.
Yeah. But following the Power for the whole existence of them, this had to be one of their better performances.
Really?
Yeah. The quarterback is going to get his timing with his receivers. He got to get better protection, obviously.
How'd Aaron LeSueur do?
He did pretty good.
He did very well.
He did
very well.
On the one kickoff, it don't look like he was touched. He got back up and ran, but they called him dead.
Yeah.
He may have been touched on the helmet, but
Didn't look that
it
way.
was so fast. It didn't look like he was touched.
Yeah.
But he did pretty good. Rodriguez did really good.
Did
He
he?
did.
Yeah.
He was another one of the free agents that they brought in.
He was traded from Orlando, and he was on fire. He had 3 touchdowns,
Yes, he did.
95 yards. He did real good, but like I said, the offensive line.
And Samoan Hawaiian guy?
I can't say his name. I'll call him Sean. He did good too.
Yeah.
Right, because I know he's a great player. I just wanted to hear, since you were at the game and Chip was at the game,
He's pretty
we already
elusive.
gave him his moment in the
on
sun.
your
I'm
site-
trying to give you.
On your site, is the Power the only thing you cover exclusively, or do you cover a wide variety?
Oh no,
of
I
topics?
cover all the Pittsburgh sports teams. I cover the Penguins, the Pirates, the Steelers. Like when Sanders signed with the Broncos, $15 million.
Oh, you mean
That's a waste of money in my.
But he agreed to contract
Yeah,
with
he
every
agreed.
other
So
team.
what, 2 other teams?
He agreed with
Chip,
the
that's
Chiefs.
negotiating.
Jaguars were in the hunt.
That's like me going to buy a car. Well, Rourke gave me $35,000.
Oh, they're
for this
right down the
Cadillac.
street.
And then All-Star gave, I went to All-Star. I told him what
Bowser.
Rourke was going to sell me, and they matched the price. So he ended up with Peyton Manning, but
I
he
think
can't,
that's what he-
catch.
No.
He couldn't catch a cold last year.
You're right there. I'm glad he's gone.
All he did was drop the ball. It's a disgrace to give him number 88.
Well, I think there is going to be an interesting dynamic though when you have Wes Welker and Sanders, who really doesn't go over the middle. So I'm just curious to see, with Thomas, what they got a lot of firepower out there.
They
at Denver,
do.
though. And Manning just got his stem cell clearance again with his neck, so
I like
he'll be
that.
back and ready
I'm all
for the
about
next
the
year.
stem cells.
Yeah, I was-
Anybody that can go to Europe, get the stem cells working for you and rejuvenate it,
Denver's
there's even
going
more
all
stuff.
in on free agency.
How about the defense there, too?
Yeah, I'd hate to see their cap in a couple of years.
Well,
with all their
what they're going to
signings.
do is they're mortgaging their future to win
Yeah.
now. Before Peyton.
Let me give you an announcement. The Steelers did that, and they're rebuilding.
Yep.
Okay, you can talk Power again now.
Okay. I think we're actually going to beat San Jose. San Jose is the team that crushed us last year in our last home game. But the Power they look really good.
They look really good.
Except for the offensive line, which that was one of the main concerns, was the offensive line. See, in the beginning of the Powers, it was always the quarterback and the kicker.
Right.
The kicker did a sensational job. He made all his kicks, including a long field goal, which nobody thought he was going to make.
Really?
I'm surprised he got the ball over the offensive
Yeah.
line because he kicked it from the other end zone.
When he kicked that field goal, I thought, there's no way.
Yeah.
He made it, but just fell apart in the second half like they always did last year.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like
I tell you what, let's not lose sight of the fact that the Cleveland quarterback, and I hate giving props to anybody from Cleveland, he was responsible for 9 touchdowns. He threw
Yeah.
5 touchdown passes, and he ran for 4.
Yeah, I mean, too bad Shane Austin didn't stay in the game when he got injured, because we would have crushed him. The quarterback won the game for Cleveland, there was no doubt. He wasn't going to be denied. He rushed and he threw.
When's their next game?
2 weeks from now on a Saturday against San Jose.
At Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
All right, well,
Against the
stay
Sabercats.
tuned for that. We'll try to make that game.
Yeah.
Hey, Sean, I appreciate you coming up
No
last
problem.
second.
Great having you,
And
Sean.
thanks to Diane for all that cheesecake. It was delicious.
Where's your cheesecake?
Next time we'll have to talk
Al
Penguins.
definitely got all his cheesecake in.
Next time we'll have to talk Penguins and what they're doing, and I believe the coach, ran his welcome out of town. The coach is just too friendly with the players.
This is an extra bonus from Sean right here.
I'm just mad because I'm a Penguin fan. The coach may have been the winningest coach in the Penguins' history, but he's more of a friend than a coach.
Well, hold it. What's the average length of employment for a coach in the NHL?
I think 3 to 4 years.
It's less than 4 years.
3 to 4 years, unless
Okay, well, how long has he gone?
he's been
5th year now.
Yeah, I mean,
That happens in NHL. We'll bring you back for hockey because I can see you're fired up.
Yeah, I'm
but I
fired.
like your Pirate gear because on the 31st is the first home game.
Yep.
And it's the opener.
Yep.
We'll get you back. I keep watching your stuff. Thanks for all your posts. I appreciate it. Zach, since you got that late starter, what's on your mind here for the second edition at halftime?
Well, for the majority of the folks, they're going to have to tune in tomorrow to really hear about Gladiators of the Cage. But I was truly disappointed that Smoking Jim Frazier hit the exit before 2 of the more marquee fights of the night, especially the pro fights. He sat through a lot of those amateur bouts and then left before the 2 big fights of the night. But I tell you what, man, the Honey Badger, you were a guest on the show, and we always love to stay neutral. But my friend, you got to keep your hands up, brother, because Mr. Gambrand came in, man, and leveled the Honey Badger to, basically cap a great night of fights.
It was non-stop action there, I'll tell you.
I do think Chris Dempsey is a force to be reckoned with and is a beast, but the real beast is lurking over in New Jersey and Atlantic City, and that's my good buddy, Brutal Brendan Barrett.
Yep.
He's going to be defending his heavyweight ring cage fighting belt on May 16th at the Tropicana in Atlantic City, and I'll be there. And I'll be looking forward to covering that for Pittsburgh.
Hey, if I
Sports
could
Line.
make it, I'll be there with you. I like AC. AC's a good type of town there.
But,
a lot of fun there.
That's what's on my mind. I just want to thank Robert Joseph, Jim and Jay, John Wagner, everybody at Gladiators of the Cage, Hank Hanesick, his lovely girl Christy Moore, Jamie. We all basically covered all the bases on that one. But the main event was just a great knockout, and it pretty much capped a great night. And then it kind of spilled out into the streets a little bit. I saw a little bit of raw footage.
Well, Little Z and I happened to be right in the middle of it. No, we didn't cause it, but it was great. Pittsburgh police were just unbelievable there. They took a tense situation and sort of calmed down quite a few people there. So, and there were some out-of-town people. It wasn't all the Pittsburgh people here, I could tell you that much. So. But it was a lot of
I
excitement.
think the stilled spirits may have had something to do with it, eh?
Well, some of it, because they were celebrating St. Patrick's Day on Saturday, Sunday. Oh, today is St. Patrick's Day. So it's a triple header. What else do you got, Chip?
Well, I just, I think the Penguins have a lot to do to get themselves back into contention for the cup. The goaltending duo that they've got now going into the playoffs doesn't instill a lot of confidence in me. Marc-Andre Fleury, he's a solid number one, but if we have to rely on Zadkov to win any games in the playoffs, I think we're in a lot of trouble. The lack of defense that they played the last 2 games. I mean, how they can let the Flyers consistently be in front
Chip,
of the
they're
net.
getting traditional here. When it gets near the playoffs, you have no D, and then the offense disappears.
Yeah.
We don't need a lack of power. No pun intended for the Pittsburgh power.
Well, you know what? We're not going to be seeing hockey in June here if they continue to play the way they are.
Well, I'm not going to get down on the Penguins.
I agree with Chip.
Do you?
Yeah, I mean, there's just a lack of a presence in front of the net that's like staggering, and I love Mata, but sometimes he's just real lackadaisical when it comes to being in front of the net. And Orpik is as guilty as anybody right now, too.
Yeah.
They're just not doing a good job of keeping those guys out of the way.
I'm not going to jump on that bandwagon. They'll be done, but I'm sort of wondering about Orpik if he's taking too many hits and given too many hits, because he seems like he's a little slower.
Yep.
And on the hitting, he's not as powerful as he seems to be each time. There's a couple moments where he's just awesome, but then when you think he should be making that hit, he's missing it. So we'll see. But I still have faith in the Penguins. We had 4 guys hit the ice today. Even Letang was on the ice.
How about that? Now that's a story in itself.
Well, did you hear the one interview? He said, my heart's been like that my whole life. I don't think I need to get it, operated on, so I'm going to play with it. He's going to play with a hole in his heart, so God bless him. He's a warrior.
And I do ultimately hope that, he said he wouldn't be skating, wouldn't be practicing now if he didn't intend to play. And that's going to be up to the doctors, ultimately, is what's going to happen.
Well, part of it is the tests come in, the way I'm no doctor. But if there's not any real damage and he's not life-threatening, even though he has that hole, they'll let him play.
Well,
I'm sure he's on some medication.
He's in optimal shape, too, though.
He's a super athlete.
Last Monday night, and the Dallas Stars almost had a player. He died on the bench. They brought him back with the paddles after something like that. Of course, he's a hockey player. I mean, you know what I mean? But, they're going to be a little bit more cautious about that, because if somebody dies because they've let him in too soon, you can imagine what that
some
would
of
do
these
to the league.
players with heart problems, they don't even know. They haven't tested.
No.
There aren't tests for some of that stuff.
Obviously, but it's something they're going to show a little extra caution with.
Well, they already are, because they did hold him back. He wanted to come back within 2 weeks.
Nobody ever said hockey.
He wanted to play in Los Angeles after he had the stroke.
What's the condition of your favorite backup goalie, Tommy Vokoun?
I have not heard anything about what he's going to do, and I don't know how, if they put him back on the big team, how that's going to affect the salary cap, because he's got a much higher salary than Zatkov, and they're pushing the edge on the envelope on the salary cap. So I don't know how that.
But as it gets
they
closer,
might have got some kind of exemption, though. Roster
as it gets closer to the end
until
of
he
the
gets
season.
put on the active roster, then it counts against it. So
how much of it counts against, though? Because if you don't play the whole season, they can't.
It'll be like a rent-a-player is how it'll work out. They'll divide it up. And that's our halftime show. We're going to start back with our great guests right now.
I'm always here to play.
I know that.
Go.
Well, since you're wearing Pitt football gear, do you mind if we talk about Pitt football?
We canceled the spring game. How do you feel about that, sir?
I'm not very happy about that.
Tell us what your thoughts are on Pittsburgh Sportsline right now.
I'm very unhappy that there is no spring game. However, they're going to get an extra practice. I just hope for the fans' sake they have something for them, some sort of fan fest.
So you think the extra practice is going to be more beneficial than keeping with tradition?
According to Coach Christ, it is, and he's in charge right now. So.
Well, could you elaborate a little bit, though, for the folks at home? He's basically saying that we are so inexperienced and we're not fundamentally sound that we shouldn't play this game in front of the public, so we're just going to practice and cancel it.
Well, you know what? In all honesty, they're pretty beat up. They've got a lot of guys hurt, and I don't know that they could actually put two teams together to have a for real spring game.
So we have that many injuries still at this stage.
They're holding about 10 guys out at least, and
how many athletes do they have on the football team's roster?
they've got 85 scholarships, I believe, give or take a couple, because they've had a couple guys leave. But I would imagine probably about 105 guys total. I mean, there are probably about 15 walk-ons down there that are going to participate in spring ball, I would think.
Well, I'd really like to see them, garner some excitement, because, one of the things that really breaks my heart for, the Pitt football team is they play in front of a stadium full of empty seats on a regular basis. They might sell out 1, possibly 2 games a year. And, if the things that they're doing aren't going to put fannies in the seat.
Well, it's really a long process. People think about the good old days back in the 70s and early 80s, but they didn't fill the stadium up back then either.
I remember I went to many a game, and that bowl was nice sitting in that stadium, running up Cardiac Hill. But they were rarely sold out.
And for all those Penn State Nittany Lion lovers out here, I can remember going out there in 1973 when they didn't have a sellout, and they didn't have 55,000 seats in their stadium at that time.
Well, Pitt Stadium actually sat more people than Three Rivers Stadium.
Yes,
because of the bench seating. They could pack you in like sardines.
More, but it wasn't until Sherrill era that we were at least coming close to selling out regular games.
Right. They did a few, but it wasn't.
The
Notre Dame games, West Virginia,
Penn State game, we used to sell those out.
I used to hit a few of those games back then.
I hit them all.
Do you think moving the stadium off campus down into the north side hurt the athletic program?
It bothered me. It hurt me. You know what?
Good question.
I'm going to tick. I'll tell you what. I'm going to tick the students off. But the fact that it's gone, it didn't affect them one way or the other. They didn't come to the games anyway. When we weren't winning, they didn't show up.
You mean they're front runners?
Absolutely, they're front runners. And It's coming right here from me, and come get me if you don't like it.
Hold it. Where can they reach you online? Don't you have a Facebook group page or
Got
something?
a Facebook
Tell
group
us
page,
about that.
Real Pit Football Talk, no nonsense. You can get on that. I spelled one of those words wrong. I can't remember which one, and I'm too stupid to figure out how to correct it.
You know what? But you make a lot of sense in your comments there. I know that. I check it out every so often. It comes through my news feed. You put a lot of good stuff out there.
I try to, and a lot of.
And then you try to stir it up a little bit too. I like that.
A little bit, but I won't let them. They can't get into a wee contest on there.
I noticed that.
I'll cut them off.
So based on what scholarships and through Leonard Vitente and National Signing Day, do we have anything to look forward to in the fall since we're not going to have a spring game to look at anybody?
So. I think so. I mean, the schedule's not that hard. Well, the ACC schedule is, to be determined how we do there. But the non-conference games, it would be a shame if we would lose one we're not supposed to.
What would you think your prediction for this year? Have you thought about it?
Realistically, 7-5, maybe 8-4. They're going to lose a couple games they shouldn't.
Okay.
I mean, all I saw of the quarterback was what little bit I saw in the bowl game.
And who is that?
Actually,
Voitek.
Actually, I thought he looked better than Savage in the spring game last year.
Yeah.
But they only, in fact, in spring ball, that's another thing. They've only got 2 quarterbacks. They've got no walk-ons there now.
Who are the 2 quarterbacks? Who's behind Voitek?
Trey Anderson's still there.
Like I said,
that's it. I mean, they've got to take all the reps, and they really do have to be careful. He can't afford to lose either of those guys.
Well, how's Tyler Boyd looking? Do you hear anything?
Yeah, how's McLaren?
Well, today and yesterday were the first 2 days they did anything. They're not, they're just out there, no shoulder pads.
Okay.
So they're
football and shorts, huh?
Yeah,
Right, because I saw an interview with Tyler Boyd and said they're asking him questions how he feels and all this other stuff and how it's going. Well, sure, it's easier second year.
I'll tell you what, they've got an abundance of receivers. Ronald Jones is coming back. He missed a year last year. Nobody's talking about him, but he's fast. I could see them, and I wouldn't be adverse to seeing them put in a little bit of Wildcat running with him. I mean, so many teams when they run the Wildcat, they've got a quarterback that can't move. Right. They line him up at wide receiver, and he can't do anything. But Voitek's a pretty good athlete.
Yeah.
You've actually got a threat there.
Well, do you think Chris will do something like that?
He may.
He doesn't excite me as a head coach.
No, but take a look at Russell Wilson. He was the offensive coordinator of Wisconsin.
Yes,
when
he was
there.
Yes, he was.
And they were.
Yeah, but I have a theory that he was actually lucky that he left North Carolina because they were changing things there, and he was playing baseball. He still had 1 year of eligibility. He was like a coach on the field.
That very well may be. However, he walked into an offense that didn't operate that way.
Right.
They were at 3 yards on a cloud of dust.
No, I
type
understand.
Offense. None of those quarterbacks would have been in.
But that's where I add the coach, that he was like a coach there with his experience. They
still had to run that, but they still had to change the offense to suit him.
Yeah, good point.
So you don't think it's been beneficial that they've teamed up with the Steelers and UPMC and they share the same facilities? You don't think that that's been beneficial in any way, shape, or form? Because they still truck all your fair weather students in from Oakland on the buses, in case you didn't know.
Well, that's another thing. The first year they went over there, I parked in Oakland, and I took the bus over there with the students. I had no problem doing that, and I think it's great. There's not a problem. They're griping they can't get there. You can go there anytime you want. You can leave anytime you want. Now, the second year, they didn't drop you off around the stadium. They dropped you off on the other side of the 6th or 7th Street Bridge, and you had to walk, but they've changed that. There's no problem. If you want to get over there, you can get over there on the bus.
For those 2 or 3 games a year where we get the big crowds, I like it's electric. I like the atmosphere.
You know what? They could have built luxury boxes right around Pitt Stadium. They could have cleaned up the bathroom. They could have put their luxury suites right there. All the things that they wanted, they could have done. They're getting hosed down there at Heinz Field.
And that's why we like sports. Those are your opinions and some of the others, and just like I feel they should have stayed on campus too.
I loved it there.
Me too. I thought it was a great atmosphere.
Most of the people that have been connected with the university in one capacity or the other feel the same way.
Right.
You know, I don't know how the students feel. Well, they don't. You know, they feel now because they can't take the bus up. They're not walking up that hill after they're all gymed up. There's too many bars down there to stop in on your way up, and if it's raining, they're going to stay there.
Wow. Well, that's a tradition that's been there for a long
They
time.
called that hill
Yeah,
Cardiac
no,
Hill
I'm
when my mother was
still
in college in the
100%. I haven't had a
40s.
drink in 15.
Whoa. Well, where else can we get a hold of you? Anywhere else that you're just your pit?
You can pick it up there. That's the best place.
Okay.
So you're just football. You got any prediction for the tournament for the basketball program, the basketball
I'm
team?
predicting they will win the first game.
Okay.
That's not their type of team, but I guess their hotshot guard for Colorado's out.
Okay.
And hopefully, Zane, that wasn't a two-game mirage.
I'm saying they get hot now and they go win 2 games.
Or you think they're going to beat Florida?
Yeah.
From your mouth to God's ears.
And all of you watching Pittsburgh Sportsline, even on Pittsburgh Sportsline on Facebook. Like us, sometimes we don't just pick the traditional things. I think they get hot. Look at, they could have blown out the last game and they started choking. They had that deadly disease, but you know what? The choking disease stopped right there. They won the game. So
Unfortunately, they're not hot. I believe in hot. Well, you
Right.
take a team in the playoffs that gets hot,
Yeah.
ride them all the way.
Right.
Having
Yeah,
bad
yeah, you
injuries
do.
That's why the
that
stupid
no, I know
Ravens
they're
won the
not.
Super
I'm
Bowl 2
embellishing
years ago.
Exactly.
Because they got
Exactly.
hot.
You're exactly right. Well, Bob, I want to thank you for coming on our show.
was
All
my
the way
pleasure.
from Beaver Falls.
I love it.
Brandy, the waitress bartender of the year at Sips. Welcome aboard.
I got the most applause.
Yes, you
Yeah,
did.
you did.
And you
More than
deserve
me.
it.
Well, wasn't that the boss, Chaz?
Yeah.
He's the boss, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did he get his cheesecake?
He did.
Thank Diane for making that cheesecake there.
Thanks, Diane. No, I don't want to be on the picture.
Okay, don't take her picture.
Oh, you missed it.
All right, we got to get to the menu. Bill, you're distracting us. We got a menu here.
Yeah, I
Are
wanna
you
talk
gonna
about our specials.
What specials?
Our weekly specials.
Okay, tell us now.
Okay, so on Mondays we have a meatball hoagie.
And
which
who's
you got-
here?
You guys are here.
Pittsburgh Sportsline is
Yeah.
here.
That's the best meatball hoagie Jim Frazier ever
Yeah.
ate.
2 weeks ago.
And it typically comes with coleslaw or
Okay.
chips. You get your choice of one, or you can
How
add
much?
fries for 99 cents.
Oh,
the meatball
man.
hoagie is $6.50.
What a deal.
Yeah, and they're huge. It comes with 4 meatballs
Oh,
and a big
man.
hoagie.
They're bigger than huge, if
crispy,
there's a word
provolone
bigger than
cheese.
huge.
Smokes, what a
Really
promo.
They
Keep
are.
going.
What
And
else
then
do you
we
have?
also have Captain and Cokes for $4 on Mondays. Good deal. We have happy hour Monday through Friday from 4 to 7. That's 50 cents off our bottles, $1 off our drafts, $1 off the wine, and $1 off the pretty much a liquor drink.
Nice.
So that's Mondays.
Okay.
Tuesday we have Camp Petey's Pizza.
How much?
50 cents a slice.
Oh, man.
Awesome.
Dog.
Wow.
Yeah. And then on Wednesday, we have half off appetizers from 4 to 7 along with our happy hour. That's
Wow.
awesome.
Half off.
Yeah. Thursday is a great night because we have 25-cent wings.
Isn't that when Smoking Jim and sometimes
Smoking
I
Jim
show
comes
up?
for our wings,
He's
yep. Mm-hmm.
there more than
Did
me.
you ever bring Brazil?
Never mind. That's an inside joke. She's
Don't get it.
invisible.
That one flew right over my head.
Yep, you're
She's
killing
an
it.
invisible.
You're
She's
killing
an.
her.
That's okay.
Keep going.
Go
Also
on with
with
the
our
menu.
wings-
You're doing
Thursday we
great.
passed.
Thursday we have 25-cent wings, and then we're doing a 250 Yingling. So it's wings and Yingling.
Wings and yangs.
Wings and Yingling.
Oh
So
my
that's always good.
goodness.
Friday, we have Fish Friday, Lenson. So that's really
Is that the
good.
biggest fish in the
It's the
city?
biggest fish I've ever seen. The biggest cod. We have a customer comes in, gets it every Friday. He says it's a whale, as big as a whale.
Wow.
That's a big
Is that
piece of fish.
before he has the drink specials or after?
He comes for lunch. So there's no drink special for lunch.
Ah, no
There's a-
drink
there's a
specials
local,
at
There's
lunch.
a local place called a Well of a Cod Sandwich. I'm not gonna say.
Yeah,
we-
that isn't
we-
here.
we've
This
never
is
heard of
Sips.
it. Yeah.
It's huge. And now, what about Saturday?
Saturday we have BYOB, which is
Bring your own-
build your own burger.
And I got to tell you, the burgers are fabulous.
Yeah,
Nah, I need one.
they're really
Forget it.
good.
That sounds great.
Take my order.
And then Sunday we have our Sips Seafood Sunday.
Wow.
$3 Bloody Marys, $3 for 4 jumbo shrimp, calamari, fried clams, fish. They all come with fries, and they are $3.
Oh my God!
I heard you only eat in for those.
It is eaten.
You can't get it to go. No arguing about that with Brandy.
Whose idea was that?
The owners.
Don't mention his name.
No.
He's
It was my
incognito.
idea too.
I would like to say though that we've been working on it behind the scenes, and isn't she such a breath of fresh air now compared to the first time? Yeah.
Congratulations,
What a great
Brandy.
commercial.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you for
Give me that
having me.
sheet.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
I'm a boy from the sticks, Zach, so you gotta
There you go.
be patient with me.
I was meeting guys from Altoona at the MMA fights.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, matter of fact, Cage Nation. I got to give a shout out to these guys, Albert, Drew, and Kess. Not only were they listening to the talking machine, but they were writing down things. They come up with a video. I posted that up. They do MMA. You got to check these guys out. Really great stuff. Now let's get to what your forte is. Well, I don't know what it is. You write about sports and everything, but I want to hear some wrestling.
All right, that's good. The Keystone State Wrestling Alliance returns to action on Saturday, March 29th, the 7th annual Joe Abbey Memorial Tournament. And it's also our Hall of Fame night. And this year we honor Chuck Martoni, Jumpin' Johnny DeFazio, and Chili Billy Cardell.
Oh, man. Is Chili Billy going to be there?
Chili Billy will be there.
How much are these tickets?
$10 for adults.
Tell them where it's
$8
at.
for kids. The KSWA Arena in Lawrenceville.
The Moose.
51st Street.
Check us out.
51st Street.
And
51st and Butler.
51st and Butler. $10 for adults, $8 for kids. There
How
are
about for the Kamikaze Kid? Okay, fair enough. Hey, Chaz, rarely do I stop him. Did you hear that pause? Because of you.
That means there's wiggle room there.
I'm just kidding.
We'll talk afterwards. But
Okay.
anyway,
If you have some SIP
You show up,
shirts.
I'll buy your ticket.
there you go. Sips shirts, we might be able to do something. Anyways, it is our annual tournament.
Okay.
It's a tournament. It has been a singles tournament. It has been a tag tournament. This year it returns to its roots as a singles tournament.
Wow.
4 mega stars are in the tournament. It was originally the Drunken Luchador Joey Cuervo versus Dr. Devastation Lou Martin, the former
Not
two-time
Dr. Devastation.
Dr. Devastation.
That's my man.
The former 2-time KSWA heavyweight champion against Bulldozer, 368 pounds from
Lord
Detroit,
Zoltan?
Saw him.
Michigan.
Where's Lord
Every ounce of
Sultan?
And the 4th member of this tournament was Lord Zoltan.
No. Will we have his notorious wrench?
You never know.
Okay, just asking.
The KSWA committee stepped in, however, late last week and said Joey Cuervo, he had a win in February. Joey isn't the caliber of athlete needed for the tournament, the Joe Abbey Memorial Tournament.
Who's the tournament named after?
Joe Abbey was a studio wrestling wrestler back in the studio wrestling days. He was from Lawrenceville, hardworking guy. You would appreciate his work ethic. He sold food for Kraft Foods. He was a real life repo man.
Really?
And he did a number of other things just to support his family. And he was such a legend in Lawrenceville as well as studio wrestling. We named a tournament
That's
after.
quite an honor.
And Demolition Axe, when he was in town a few years ago, he asked whatever happened to Joe Abbey. Unfortunately, Joe Abbey passed away in 1995.
R.I.P. to Joe.
But we told Demolition Axe that we named a tournament after him, and he was impressed that
Nice.
we would honor the
So who
guys.
did they get to play, replace the Drunken Luchador?
The Drunken Luchador has been replaced by one of the fastest rising megastars in recent years, the Jester.
Not the
Heck
Jester.
out of here.
Oh,
Are you
man.
serious?
Hey,
Sean
Zach.
Blanchard have anything to
That's
do with
what
it?
Sean Blanchard set it up with the Drunken Luchador Joey Cuervo, Sean Blanchard, of course, being the owner of the KSWA, wanted to pave, at least the championship committee thought, pave a way to the finals.
Try
of the
to spit it out. You got so much complications here. He's one of the most scary individuals that I ever saw in the ring.
Thank God Stephanie isn't here.
Oh, he is.
She's terrified of the
We were scared ringside. Just that look that he had, among other things, that he was his old.
So the championship committee decided that the drunken luchador Joey Cuervo was not a good enough representative, so they replaced him with the Jester. And that is a point of contention between the KSWA Championship Committee and the owner, Sean Blanchard. So they're always at odds.
Really?
Yeah. So
even
now
more
the Jester.
Controversy fills the seats.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I know we were there when you packed the house, over 300 some people.
Over 300 and some people in January, 302 people in February. So March, we're hoping for a big, especially with Chili Bill Cardill. A lot of people, thanks to the horror realm as well as the Hollywood Theater, right here in Dormont, they've helped us.
Downtown Dormont.
Helped us secure that. And also mentioning the Hollywood Theater, this doesn't have anything to do with the KSWA, but it does have something to do with independent filmmaking. And at the Hollywood Theater and pro wrestling, there is a movie called Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies.
I would Shane
Douglas, who I had the honor of interviewing for a 1,750 word piece.
I thought it was 1751 because I read every single word. You're one of the most prolific writers out there.
Well, thank
Roddy Piper.
Roddy Piper is in it.
Hacksaw
Jim Duggan is in it. Matt Hardy's in it. Sylvester Turkai from Washington, Pennsylvania, 6'7", has some of the biggest hands you've ever seen in your life. And Kurt Angle is in it as well.
Kurt Angle.
You're not going to win any Oscars with this $4 million budget, but it is a fun movie, and it is being released in late March, early April, and one of the earliest showings, 9 p.m. over at the Hollywood Theater here in Dormont.
It can't be worse than any of those John Cena WWE movies.
Oh, they were great. I thought they were great.
Fun. I think
there's great action in those.
For pure fun and a night just to have a good time. It looks like it's going to be a great movie. Again, I have no association with it, but
And when is that film going to be?
March 26th.
Is anybody going to be there?
Yeah.
Shane Douglas is supposed to be there.
Kurt Angle.
I believe the director or producer Cody Knotts is supposed to be there. And some other people, probably some of the, there's a wrestler, Ashton Amherst, who's local, and there's a bunch of other guys who might be in there as well. But,
who wins, the zombies or the wrestlers?
You have to see.
There you go. That was the right answer.
He said it right up.
That was the right answer.
But yeah, Shane Douglas, I interviewed him at Horror Realm. He was there interviewing people, and he was excited about that.
And that was at the Crown Plaza.
At the Crown Plaza.
They've been doing that for years there. You should have stopped up to my house there. Live about a half a mile away.
I know. I've been
down the hill.
I know. But that was a great time talking about him and Shane Douglas, talking about an investor that he has in his pocket to hopefully start his own promotion out in Los Angeles. Whether or not that's going to take place has nothing to do with the Jeff Jarrett promotion.
Boy, he's covering all kind of ground here.
But you know, he's an interesting guy. Trained with Mick Foley back in the day, and a bunch of other guys trained with the great Dominic DeNucci.
A lot of pro wrestlers got their cut their teeth with Dominic.
Absolutely, one of the greatest guys.
And a Hall of Famer.
The KSWA Hall of Fame, of course, as well as the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame in Amsterdam, New York.
That's
how'd I do on helping you out with that?
You did excellent,
Thanks,
as
buddy.
always.
That's what I'm trying. We're going to have to wind this down. You can stay with us. We're going to wind down. We wanted to talk about some Olympics that are still going on at Sochi, the Paralympics, and Chip and I were talking about it. I posted some stuff on Pittsburgh Sportsline on Facebook because I didn't think a lot of these athletes are getting the proper credit that they should. Just being able to compete thousands of miles away from home and training for 4 years like this. Right, Chip?
That's right, and the Americans won a gold medal in Sochi. In hockey, no less. It's sled hockey in the Paralympics. United States team beat the Russians 1-0 on Saturday and took home the gold.
Great.
And Dan McCoy, who is from Fox Chapel, played on the team. So we got Pittsburgh roots there with the Paralympic gold medal.
That's terrific.